All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Darren Smith, along with Steve Walls, and we'd like to welcome you to the pregame cheat sheet. We are live from Arrowhead Stadium inside the press box where the Kansas City Chiefs will be taking on the Buffalo Bills at 3:25 today, in just a little under an hour. Of course, this game has big playoff ramifications for both teams. Steve, I know you're back from Green Bay. Give me your initial thoughts on this game today.
Like you said, playoff. First of all, thank you to G.E.H.A for having unlimited Rice Krispie treats. It makes my day go by a lot smoother. But anyway, about today's game, I think you have two teams, especially the Chiefs, coming off of a loss, a surprising loss, so to speak, in Green Bay, and then Buffalo Bills. They've been up and down this season, so both teams are coming in trying to, figure things out. So, and I think the winner of this game would be looking up, going towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that'll be, of course, in the catbird seat, Kansas City, if they win. Depending on what happens in the other games, right now they're in the third seed. But if Dolphins lose anytime throughout the rest of the season, the Chiefs, of course, if the Chiefs win out, they have a good chance of getting the number one seed back. Baltimore, they're in the tight ball game right now with the Los Angeles Rams. If they were to lose, Chiefs would leapfrog them to number two. Of course, if Buffalo wins, and that will help them to keep their playoff hopes alive. They will go to 7-6, but they need a lot of things right now for them to leapfrog. But something to fall in place for them if that were to be the case. Right now, Houston is losing to the New York Jets. Cincinnati is in a dogfight right now with the Indianapolis Colts. So there's a lot that could happen between now and kickoff just for Buffalo within itself. But we'll look at this game. Of course, it is, according to the NFL, the quarterback duo matchup since Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, where you got Josh Allen going up against Patrick Mahomes. Now, looking at how last week's game played out for the Chiefs, it went down to the last drive, and of course, people talking about the referees and the officiating and stuff like that, and some of the wide receivers and the drops that took place in that particular game. Steve, looking at this initial matchup, let's look at the Chiefs offensively versus Buffalo defensively. Now, one thing that they're not really good at this season has been stopping the run. But the Chiefs, however, are without Isaiah Pacheco in today's game, which means Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets to start. And I know how we felt about Clyde getting the majority of the type of those snaps or whatever, being the bell cow running back in today's game. So I think we'll get a healthy dose of Clyde, but also a big dose of Jake McKinnon. So give me your thoughts offensively for the Chiefs as they go up against this Buffalo Bills defense.
I thought long and hard about this, and when it came out that Isaiah Pacheco had a shoulder injury. One thing about Isaiah Pacheco is that he brings energy. He brings a different type of running style, a more of an aggressive style, and it's someone who, if they continue to run the ball, throughout a football game, not people don't want to tackle that. You get it for your first quarter, but then when you have to keep going, where he falls to the ground, he gets up and starts running again. That stuff wears down the defense. And I feel like if Clyde is able to bring that energy, he has to, because your team feeds off of how you go. Not only, of course, you have Pacheco. You have a Travis and you have Patrick, but Pacheco brings a different style. And I think Clyde has to match that. And it's been a while since Clyde has started an NFL game.
Yeah.
Of course, he lost his starting position to rookie Isaiah Pacheco. And so I think this game, I said this yesterday, but this game is going to be a money game for Clyde. People wrote him off. At least Chiefs fans did wrote him off last season.
The Chiefs did this
and in the beginning of this season. So he's got to show not only Chiefs kingdom, but then prove to himself and other teams around the league that will have this film and say, hey, this is what I can do given being a starting running back.
Seeing this, though, knowing that the Chiefs are going to have met the starting running back, do you still see them? And look, I have my opinion on this is that I think that they're going to. I still think even though he's a starting running back and plays for Pacheco, I don't think he runs the ball as much. I think they do a lot more. I think it's going to be more of a passing game than anything else. And against this Bills defense, even though their weakness is to run, but we all know, Clyde really moving the line and pushing the line. It's not an option because he doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think you mentioned passing. They're going to be doing a lot of screens.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about this offense and Andy Reid. They're not sneaking up on anybody anymore, right? Like all the little trick things that you do, the quick shovel pass, the end around stuff. You're not fooling anybody. Their defenses are looking forward to that. Um, and I think you just got to play football. We talk about. I know we'll get into the wide receiving court, but they have to play well today.
Well, it's interesting because that's exactly where I was going. Because the biggest concern and breakfast that I had with some people this morning is that the discussion was, of course, about Tyreek Hill not being whether he's missing. That's we've had the discussion ad nauseum. But one of the things that I talked about with these people was that by getting rid of him, you kind of shorten Kelsey's career here because of the attention that he drew, which allowed things to be open for Kelsey. Now, without him being in, last year was an anomaly because you didn't know what to expect. This year, with all the stuff on tape, we've seen teams double, triple team Kelsey and force the Chiefs and the wide receivers to beat you. And they've shown that they can't do that right now. So, saying that, how do you see Travis Kelsey going up against this defense? Knowing that, because I know we've talked about it before, you double, triple team them, you kind of take them out and you're forcing, the wide receivers to beat you, and teams are like, go for it.
I 100% agree with that. However, I don't feel like Kelsey's 100% health wise.
Yeah, and that also.
I think he's battling something, just don't know what. But I mean, he doesn't have that burst of the energy that Kelsey was. I know he's getting older. I know this is a season later than last year. However, you get a guy that's of course 30 years old, and he has more games behind him than he does in front of him. So you got to take advantage of the time that you do have with him. That being said, these guys are all professionals, especially the wide receiving core. MVS, he's on his third contract.
Second.
It's only a second contract.
His rookie did in.
He's still a pro. Yeah. He's still making $11 million per year. You got Sky Moore, who's not a rookie anymore. You got Justin Watson. You got a number of guys who should be, a step ahead of where they are right now. And I feel like Rashee Rice is outplaying all of them as a rookie. And so I think if you give Rashee the opportunities that you gave Sammy Watkins or the opportunities that you gave with Juju Smith-Schuster, I feel like the offense can move a little bit. You just got to give them those opportunities.
I'm curious, and let's jump into this wide receiver conversation. And I know we've had this week out about the issues that they're displaying right now, whether it's, them dropping passes, they're not separating, getting open, Mahomes sometimes overthrowing these receivers, and the receivers not being in the right spot. We know that India talked about it this week. Patrick's talked about it. We've seen the video footage of MVS in the locker room post game, and this week after one of the practices. Have you, in your opinion, been able to pinpoint what's going on with this team, or gotten an answer on your end when talking to Andy or the players or whatever about what's plaguing this wide receiver? I mean, I've talked about it now, so I'm kind of blue in the face with it.
I mean, so as Andy and also Patrick earlier this week about how the wide receiver with the ups and downs that have gone on this season, how is their mental, going from week one to right now? And Andy and Patrick both said that they're fine. I mean, it's football. You're not going to always be, riding high, but I feel like it's just something's off kilter. They're not syncing up the right way. I mean, we saw last week where MVS was turning the wrong way. We saw Sky turn the wrong way. I mean, what is it about this wide receiver? And I'm going to ask you, what is it about this wide receiver team or crew, whereas you're in the week 14 and right now y'all should be clicking, honestly, and it's not happening?
I've always wondered if it's more the reps, I can't, because again, I know you only have so much time in practice and film room and stuff like that, but man, I've always thought that if you know some things are plaguing you, you've got to continue to work on them. Now, I know you can't practice with Mahomes throwing the football and wearing his arm out during the week, but I mean, I don't know if you spend, maybe the receiver needs to spend an extra hour, 2 hours on the juggling machine. I mean, it's hard because you would think as a professional, you only have one job. I mean, it's not like, I mean, you get paid a lot of money.
Got one job.
And if the old lady at the house has a problem with that, then, then hey, it is what it is. So it's hard because Let's take a quick time. So, not quite sure, but it's hard. We're going to take a quick time out. We send our audios having some issues. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Football fans, you can't spell gate without Gates, and great tailgates start with Gates sauces and seasonings. Named synonymous with mouth-watering tailgates. When you make your list of tailgate essentials, add Gates sauces and seasonings to that list. Spice up your tailgate experience with that unmistakable great taste. Available in 4 tantalizing flavors. Classic, sweet and mild, mild and hot. Find it at your local grocer, and if you don't see it, ask for it. Visit GatesBarbecue.com to purchase any of the great sauces and seasonings. Great tailgates start with Gates.
All right, so we're back here. I guess we got the auto issue taken care of. But Steve, no, I when it comes to the wide receivers, it just seems like I like to think it's mental because they know how to catch the football, and I keep trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because of we had questions about the connections last season with Mahomes and in the playoffs.
Mhm.
You know, they were able to. I mean, MVS. I tell people, Chiefs don't get to Super Bowl without MVS's performance in the AFC Championship game, and in the Super Bowl they don't win. You know, they don't win the ball game without Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney and those players stepping up and making those big catches. And so, um, if I had to pinpoint, man, I just think it's just the lack of reps that they're getting, man. Because I know they're so focused on getting the plays and stuff during the week that I think that they're just taking that, and I just think they're just taking the simple fact that, well, we'll just catch the ball this weekend. And look, I mean, I know a lot of it is the defense gets paid as well. So I mean, I don't know, man. I just think the players need to step up, man. I just think that, and the hardest thing is one of the other things that I know we talk about is that I really think that they need to. I really think that they need to like shorten their rotation of the wide receivers because we saw the game. I don't know if it was the Raiders or might have been a game here that the Chiefs because they were without McCole, they were without Kadarius.
Mm-hmm.
They only really focused on 5 wide receivers. I know MVS and I think Watson only had 1 catch in those games. But the other receivers, I mean, the offense looked like it was fluid because they only focused on those 5 wide receivers in the running game. So I think if they were to somehow lessen their rotation, you know, I mean, don't just put everybody in the game because you feel like you got to play them. I think now you kind of need to put the players in who are actually contributing.
I agree with Mark Lewis, who's watching us right now on Facebook. I agree with him. He said he feels like Scott needs to prove himself. Well, I mean, this year is really his only year that he's been able to play wide receiver. Remember last year's rookie year where he had to do both. So I think he's figuring out how to play this wide receiver position. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like, and I asked both Tyreek and McCole. They were both on punt return and had to do both.
Yeah.
And McCole and both Tyreek, they both said once they were removed from punt return. Now Tyreek's a little different, right? Because his speed helps him. But once they removed from punt return, they didn't have to worry about it. Kickoff return as well.
Yeah.
They took the next step. And I feel like that's the kind of phase where Sky Moore is in. And I'm only using it because it was a 2-people sample size. So
no,
I'm only using that for that example. But this wide receiver crew, man, the Chiefs, you mentioned him having more than 5 wide receivers. The Chiefs, that's their MO, where they're able, Patrick comes out there and says, well, all you fantasy owners, you never know. It's going to be somebody different every week. So I feel like it's kind of ingrained in this Chiefs offense.
No, I mean, I get it, but we see remember after the Eagles lost, they said that they went back and looked at the film and stuff, and I guess the next thing was the Raiders game where they went back, looked at film, and then that's how because they came up with the idea. Well, let's shorten the rotation. Now, again, some of it was by force because of the injuries, but then but you saw the kind of game that they played against the Raiders. Now, they were down 14, but then once Patrick actually sat back, let the play develop and stuff like that, he was hitting on all dimes. So I'm saying it worked. So, but I'm saying why go back against what worked for you if and so
they run the ball, it works. They go back to passing. I mean, you never know. That's the thing. It's like they have one thing, and that's what they're gonna do. It's kind of they won't step outside of that box.
The defense is giving you, because if they're taking Kelsey, they're giving you the outside. They're giving you. I mean, and they're not.
We watch this team year in and year out. Sometimes a simple thing they won't do it. Simple thing, they make things tough on the 1 yard line, and you throw the ball.
I don't even come back for that. That's exactly what they do. On the defense side of football, Steve, let's look at it. Of course, for the Chiefs. Chris Jones, I think he had a sack last week, but
He did at the end of the game.
but the Chiefs though on defense, they're going to be without Dan Crankle concussion protocol,
True.
but
Yep.
they do get back Nick Bolton, the middle linebacker who Drew was subbing in for. So to get him back, you got your defensive play caller and leader back out there. But they'll also be without Brian Cook. Of course, he had a severe sprain injury on last week. They bring up Deion Bush. How do you see this defense against Buffalo's offense? And look, Josh Allen will be aggressive. He will throw the football down the field. He will be aggressive and try to make big plays to where you can get, perhaps some interceptions or whatever from him. How do you see the Chiefs defense, who have given up two touchdowns early in the ballgame the last couple of weeks, play against this team?
I feel like you still got a veteran back there, Mike Edwards. You should be able to slide him over. I know he plays a little bit of the strong safety with backing up Justin Reed, but I feel like if you're putting Justin and Mike out there shouldn't be much drop off. Shamari Connor, still a younger guy. I think they'll put him in spurts. But my biggest question is, do you have Nick Bolton on the pitch count? He hasn't played. He hasn't played in 4 weeks. He hasn't played in 4 weeks. So, do you have him on the pitch count? Because you just don't throw him back in there. We talked about it earlier of doing the live tackling in practice. Now he's getting live bullets today. So, do you have him on the pitch count or don't you?
That's a good question. I ain't thought about that.
Yeah.
I think you do initially. However, obviously, if they can get the team three and out, then you kind of increase his pitch count because he's not on the defense. He's not out there on the field too much. But I think it's really going to be dependent upon what the offense does.
Yeah.
Because if the offense is three and out and they can't move the ball down the field, then again that puts more pressure on the defense once again, which means they'll be in that bench situation where eventually they break.
Yeah, and last week was kind of an anomaly for this season, right?
Okay.
You first game over 20 points.
Yeah.
So they've got this defense is coming in with a lot of tenacity, trying to prove something. Whereas they've proven a lot already.
It's the offense that has something to prove.
Well, sometimes we know this team has always been the offensive side of the ball. It's always been Patrick Mahomes in the offense.
Yeah, but there's a whole different year though. So I'm saying the roles have flipped. The defense has shown that they again.
I don't know, man. You got a lot of guys on it.
See, if the offense is putting you behind 14-0,
I'll take that back. I won't say the defense as a whole has something to prove. There's guys on the defense that have something to prove. You got Chris Jones trying to get a new deal. You have L'Jarius Sneed going for a new contract. Willie Gay going for. So you got a bunch of guys that are, they need money. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's 2 times in a row. You got, I don't know. They need money. They got money, but they just need a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Let's look at the X factors in the ball game today. Offensively, who's your X factor for the Chiefs for them to beat the Buffalo Bills?
I would say Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I would say this offense today goes as he goes. And I think most people, and I was talking to my group chat the other day, and they were like, "Oh, well, man, Clyde ain't got it, man." I'm like, dude. This is sometimes when you have somebody backed up against the wall, and we just talked about it, he needs money, right? He's another one of those guys that's trying to play for a new deal. So when contract years are undefeated,
he playing for a deal here.
Contract years undefeated, and people come out and they play their best under contract situations. So I feel like you're gonna get the best out of him today, and you best believe that the Chiefs front office understands that.
I'm surprised with this one.
Oh, okay.
My X factor, MVS. And I say that because we've seen what happened over the last essentially 3 weeks. Saw Buffalo. We saw the Eagles game hit a big drop into the game. He only had 1 catch in the Raiders game, which was for negative yards. Last week he had a couple of catches in the game against Green Bay, but when it came to matter most, he didn't get the catch at the end of the ball game. Now with the pass interference, we'll never know, because they didn't call it, but. We've seen some of the issues this week, some of the stuff social media this week, whether he's doing or not, or the media personality's doing. I think that if he wants to, let's just say, put the last 3 weeks behind him, so to speak, I think it's imperative. And look, but now I know his position depends on Mahomes, so it is up to Mahomes to give him the targets and to put the ball out there for him. But I think if Mahomes targets him, let's just say 4 times today, I think MVS will step up to the plate and will make plays today. So for me, because again, Kelsey's going to do whatever he's going to do. Whether they double, triple team him again, they're still going to put pressure on the wide receivers. I want to see whether or not he can step up to the plate and be that quote unquote $11 million number one wide receiver that the Chiefs need him to be.
I guess my question for you on top of that would be, if you're let's say you're Patrick Mahomes, do you still trust him?
You don't have a choice.
Oh, okay.
That's
good. That's good answer.
No, I mean you don't. I mean because one, if you don't trust him, then that means you've been feeding us a lot of BS most of the season about your connection with him and that you trust in your receivers and stuff like that. So I would say yes, because he's going to have to. You don't have a choice, especially if you're trying to win the ball game. Because again, however they defend Kelsey, you've got to get the ball. You got to spread. I mean, essentially, you're going to spread the ball around anyway. But you've got to give him targets and attempts.
Don't got a choice.
Because the thing is, if you, it's one thing if the defense takes him away. If you take him away, then you're helping the defense out, and you're putting more pressure on yourself and these other wide receivers because you're just essentially neglecting them.
Okay, I mean, I like that.
All right, defensively, who's your X factor?
Oh, I saw Mark said Trey McDuffie. I'm gonna go on the other side of the other side with L'Jarius Sneed. That's my X factor. I mean, he shut down all of the top wide receivers. He has another task today in Stephon Diggs. This Bills team goes not only as Josh Allen goes, but as Stephon Diggs goes, and I really do feel like he's going to be able to step up to the plate again. I mean, he's shut down all the top guys, man. What's another day? He's going to travel across the line and shadow Diggs, so he's got to shut down Stephon.
All right, so this going, and I'm pissed, but I got to go with Trey McDuffie. The reason why, because against Kansas City, against Kansas City, it's been Gabe Davis. It's been the second and third wide receiver against Kansas City that has caused them the most trouble. So now, if the tandem do what they're supposed to do, Chiefs should be okay. And now you see whether or not Josh Allen has a big run type game where he's jumping over players and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go with McDuffie because I think that he can do a better job making sure that it's not the other, second and third wide receiver that, that's hurting the Chiefs. So that's what I'm going to go with.
I got you.
All right. So what's your final score?
Oh, this is done. I mean, I would say it's
low scoring at first, but
it's just a nice day. Sun's just hiding behind some clouds right now, man. 31-34 Chiefs.
34-31?
Yeah, 31-34, man. Chiefs going.
You always got the losing score first.
It don't matter. It does. Bills 31, Chiefs 34. There you go.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go 31-27 Chiefs.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I think the Chiefs get to 31 before they get to 27.
Yeah. And
I'll say this, and I've said it before, said it again. Currently, as constructed, whether it's play calling, wide receivers, quarterback, I think it's all inclusive. If Kansas City has to come from behind to win, I don't think they get it done. I'm not trusting them at the moment because they haven't shown that they can do it. Now, they need a comfortable lead, because even a 10-point lead like they had against the Eagles isn't safe any longer. So I just think Kansas City needs to score when they can score, and they need to take the points when they can take the points. And I'm going to be interested more so in the play calling in today's game, whether it's Andy or Nagy, see what kind of play calling and game situation and how they do it. So
I like that.
But we have the Chiefs winning today. So look, make sure you join Steve and I post game. We'll be back after the game on the field with our post game thoughts. We'll also bring you Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and other players from the podium today as well. So make sure you follow Steve on social media at Steve Walls KC. Follow me on social media as well at Darren Smith NFL. And we look forward to talking to you all after the game. And then also make sure you join us tomorrow night for the Red Hour, 6:30 to 7:30. Myself, Steve Walls, DJ Q, and Sean Tyler, where we recap the game. Recap the Week 14 in the NFL, along with getting you ready for next Sunday's game against the New England Patriots. So for Steve Walls, I'm Darren Smith. Thank you so very much for joining us today.
Yeah, shout out who started today, man.
Thank you. So you got I'm so focused about this game, making sure these bets hit. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Todd White and Todd's Closers and Taylor Suits for getting me ready. I had the dark gray and the black look today. And so he's at 2 locations this holiday season. Make sure you stop out there, Ward Parkway or down on 21st and Broadway. And for you, Steve,
Check out my friends over at Dealers on the Rosa. They have a bunch of deals for you, sell items as well. Christmas holiday, they got a bunch of gifts, men, women, cologne. Make sure you go and check out their cologne counter, perfume counter, because they have some smell good for you that you might want to go check out for your significant other.
And also, we would be remiss without thanking G.E.H.A Barbecue for their day one support for us. There are 5 metro locations. Make sure, look, this holiday season, they got the turkey legs, got the big, giant turkey legs that they're doing this holiday season, along as they've lowered their prices on their ribs. So,
oh, wait, don't sweet potato. If you like the sweet potato with the
like,
oh, man.
And look, now I will say this. Now I had a chance to treat Patrick Mahomes' family last night out to G.E.H.A Barbecue. They approved it. I mean, look, they were left speechless and left with the itis. So,
what you say about Mahomes has no choice.
He has no choice. He has no choice. So, look, we thank you very much. We'll see you all post game. For Steve Walls and Darren Smith, thank you. We'll see you post game.
Football fans, you can't spell gate without Gates, and great tailgates start with Gates sauces and seasonings. Named synonymous with mouth-watering tailgates. When you make your list of tailgate essentials, add Gates sauces and seasonings to that list. Spice up your tailgate experience with that unmistakable great taste. Available in 4 tantalizing flavors. Classic, sweet and mild, mild and hot. Find it at your local grocer, and if you don't see it, ask for it. Visit GatesBarbecue.com to purchase any of the great sauces and seasonings. Great tailgates start with Gates.